Hello, and welcome to the Thomas Nelson Community College EMS Programs Clinical and Field Orientation video series. This segment is part 2 of your clinical and field compliance items list. We left off on the Fire and EMS Information Resources page on the Thomas Nelson website. For part 2, you need to log into your FISDAP account. First, go to your Jones & Bartlett account, log in, and access your program. On your program, navigate to Homepage, click the FISDAP button in the upper right-hand corner. And navigate to your dashboard. Earlier in this series, we briefly discussed your FISDAP dashboard. All EMS students are required to use the FISDAP profile for your clinical, field, and lab compliance items. The first important section on your dashboard is your inbox. This is where you will find all important announcements regarding your lab, clinical, and field shifts. When you see a new notification, please read through it as it will contain important instructions for students, including new forms, new links to forms, and required training for your field and clinical sites. The next important section are your files section. This is where you're going to find all the updated and new updated forms for your Centera, CHKD, Riverside, and other clinical and field sites, as well as acknowledgement forms for the program and important links for additional trainings. Next, please access your student portfolio. Once you open up your student portfolio, we will navigate through this. Your initial page includes your background information, contact information, and your anticipated graduation date. It also has a brief overview of any certifications that you may have obtained, as well as emergency contact information and internship progress. The next tab is probably the most important. This is your compliance status. Every EMS student that is entered into one of our programs is dropped into either an EMT or paramedic program compliance status. This list includes all of the items that you need to upload, documentation, and proof of before you can attend a field and clinical shift. Later on in this video series, we will show you how to sign up for and document your field and clinical shifts. In this segment, we are covering the compliance items. This list is all of the requirements that each student must complete and includes assumption of risk, background check, hospital orientations, the forms packet that was covered in part 1 of this series, and other important documents. As you move through and begin uploading these documents, your clinical coordinators will start signing off that you have met the requirement. Once all of these have been marked as compliant, you will be allowed to start scheduling and signing up for your field and clinical shifts. I must note, first-year paramedic and I-to-P paramedic students will not be allowed to attend field and clinical within the first part of your programs. Students who are seeking an AEMT certification during your paramedic program will have an exception and be allowed to attend field sites a little bit earlier than the other paramedic students. We will cover that in a later video series. As mentioned in part 1, students who are not affiliated with a fire department or EMS department that requires a background check and drug screen must complete the background check section using the Castle Branch form found on the Thomas Nelson website. Once you have ordered the background check and drug screen, you will upload proof of those orders to your FISDAP account to be signed off on being compliant. Students who are affiliated with an agency that does a background check and drug screen must provide the letter on department letterhead in the forms packet. You will then be marked as compliant for background check and drug screen. When students upload their physical and immunization records, they must provide proof of all immunizations, to include a list of first, second, and third dose hepatitis and/or a titer showing immunity, an MMR first or second dose and/or a titer showing immunity, a current Tdap which must be within 10 years, TB skin test or a blood draw showing TB exposure immunity, varicella evidence immunity, or documentation of first and second dose. Chickenpox as a child or an adult does not count as immunity. You must provide proof of immunity and/or a first or second dose. Students in the paramedic program will be required to upload a copy of their EMT or intermediate card from the state of Virginia. All students must upload a student ID. Currently, students must also fill out the release of information, social media policy, program manual affirmation, photo digital release form, as well as a HIPAA and student background information. Those can be found on the Thomas Nelson website under the EMS Programs Forms packet. All students must also upload a current BLS provider CPR card. To upload a form to your FISDAP website, you need to go to Attachments, choose the file you wish to upload, enter a description, and upload that to your profile. It is important to note that all forms must have the appropriate title. We will not accept any documentation that does not have a description listed. Also, these forms must be uploaded in a PDF format. Any web-based links will not open in FISDAP and therefore cannot be accepted as proof of documentation. So please, when you save these forms to your computer for upload, save them as a PDF form. You also notice ICS modules as well as an AWR 160 WMD terrorism. EMT students must complete these as part of your program. The link to complete these is located on your dashboard under the Files section. It is a Word document that contains links to all FEMA and AWR courses. Once you've obtained your links, click on the registration form and navigate through the demographic information. Then you'll need to complete ICS 100, 200, 700, and 800. Paramedic students need to provide copies of their current ICS and AWR modules. If you are missing any modules, you need to complete those in order to complete your clinical and field compliance items. As compliance items are currently documented, you will receive emails from FISDAP Robots showing the items that you are outstanding on. This will be done on a regular weekly to bi-weekly basis. As you start uploading your items, please email your clinical coordinators by accessing clinical.coordinator@tncc.edu, as well as CCing your lead instructor and your assigned clinical coordinator. Once you notify them of items being uploaded to your profile, they will be able to go in and change your compliance status. If you are missing any documentation, they will notify you at that time. This ends part 2 of our 2-part segment.